Hey there, it's BitB, and welcome out to another BitB stream. Thanks for coming out. It is Saturday, and we are playing more Apollo Justice. So I think I should start off real quick by apologizing, because last Saturday, I couldn't do it. And I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do for a catch-up stream. Maybe it won't be Apollo Justice, but it's going to be something. But yeah, I was so freaking sick that day. I was like, I don't want to do voices. I don't want to do anything that's going to make me upset. But I feel a heck of a lot better today. Actually, I feel like I feel a lot better than I have for the last 2 months of having this stupid sinus infection. Hopefully I don't relapse after the antibiotics are gone. But anywho's, yes, we are playing Apollo Justice. Now, forgive me, I'm really, really fuzzy when it comes to coming back into these streams a week later, but now it's 2 weeks. So I looked back at what we did. And yes, Drew Misham, the painter that we were checking out before, turns out he's a sham. And Vera is the person who is the painter. And also, she draws fakes. And then, Drew Misham was murdered in some horrible, ridiculous fashion involved with a stamp. It's like, ooh, that's fun. So I don't think Vera is out of the woods just yet. We're still very confused as to how any of this even happened. So let me go ahead and dive right on into the stream, why don't I? Just make sure I level the audio because I didn't do that last time. There we goes. Right. Turnabout session day 2 trial ladder. So this would be interesting to figure out her side of the story after all this nonsense. October 8th, 1:24 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 6. Okay, so where exactly does this leave us, Apollo? Well, the Drew Misham who was killed wasn't Drew Misham, the forger, basically. Huh? Well then, where have you been? Well, he was actually... Yes. Hi, ma'am. I'm gonna readjust myself because I cannot breathe properly while I'm, slouching like that. Doing your nails. So, you really made those forgeries? Yes. Yes, for father. That sucks. I know. It was wrong. Could you tell us how it happened? My father was a painter. I loved painting ever since I was a child. One day father saw it in me. He saw that I had the talent. The talent? For making forgeries? For painting? Actually, no, honestly, if they're both forgers, then it's both a couple of lying liars. How should I say it? It was not only paintings I made. Given the materials, I could make anything. Oh, yes. So, all of that other equipment you probably have also used at some point. Anything? Father was so proud, and I so happy. But, in the end, I was making those... if you just kept a couple of cue cards or something, you don't have to redraw those faces every single time. Seriously, just carry around, I don't know, maybe a deck of cards with just emojis on them or something. Forgeries. I've never had a good constitution or personality. I know very little of the world outside my door. It shows. Now, because of me, Father is... Do you know about this red envelope? I remember that envelope. It was some time ago. So, you were already you were already creating your works back then? I started when I was only 12 years old. So, the one who figured out the stamp was poisoned. That was... Mr. Justice, it's time. To the courtroom, please. Right. Out of time. Wait, Vera, just one more thing, please. Those 3 paintings in the studio. I painted those as part of my work. Right, so we checked them out and we saw what was underneath. We saw the rough sketches underneath the 3 finished paintings. I see. Mr. Justice?
Yes?
Father, he knew of you. Of both of you.
Your late father?
He was watching, gathering information, all about the Wright and Co. law offices. But lately we're not doing just law. Yes, you do tricks, gags to amuse, and play piano. Well, they're not really gags. Yet when Father heard you had resumed the legal business, how pleased he was. Who the hell is that? There was something that really was boggling my mind about his face, or his hair, or I don't know. I'm wondering if there's somebody I've seen before and I just forgot. Who was Mr. Misham?
How am I supposed to know?
What if he was Daddy's daddy?
Judging from the relative ages involved, I'd say it's highly unlikely. Things are already confusing enough with all these daddies running around.
That sounded oddly sensual.
We know that the victim's daughter, Vera, was the forger. What does this mean for the case? I guess we're about to find out.
Anyway, let's dive on in. October 8th, 1:36 p.m., District Court, courtroom number 3. I do feel a little bit nasally today. I don't know. Do I sound any different? I hope not. I hope I can continue to do these voices.
Court is now back in session.
Yes, you have some splaining to do.
Vera seems pretty tense. She's practically chewing her fingernails clean off.
Perhaps you could begin by telling us how it all worked. How did you set up this Drew Misham forger persona?
Yes. She seems very scared.
There's that stare again. She's drilling more holes into his head.
I know it's hard for you, but hey, he's a handsome guy.
What's hard?
Definitely not me. I am flaccid as a banana peel.
Very well, miss, if you would. Did you really make those detestable forgeries?
Perhaps you'd rather answer my question. Were you the one who painted that painting? The remarkably similar one?
Yes. I painted it, yes. Father praised me quite highly for it.
So, she was the one who made the forgeries?
Yet, she did not wish to reveal the truth of their operation. So the victim was a stand-in, a decoy. To the world at large, he was the forger, not her.
I've done a bad thing. I haven't I? Yes!
Regardless, we need a little more information. About, for instance, this.
Got him.
You have seen this before, yeah?
Yes. It was in the desk drawer.
Very well, you may proceed with your testimony. Tell us everything you know about this envelope.
You know, one other thing that's really messing me up today, just in the event something is actually still sort of messing with my head, I'm not wearing the over-ear headphones. That's keeping my head kind of clear, but I usually use those for stream, and right now I'm using earbuds, so I just feel weirdly plugged up in my ears. So I'm hoping I'm doing all these voices correctly. I created things and Father sold them. This envelope came after my first work. That was other than painting. Father handled the deal, all of it.
Ooh, nice picture. You drew that pretty freaking quick.
I received the stamp that was in that envelope. It was after that job that we moved to the current studio.
There certainly was much of great interest in your testimony.
Not that the witness realizes it.
Very well. Please begin the cross-examination. Right, okay. I need more information about this forger. This Drew Misham.
I would like to know personally, so... What do we press to find more information about that? But to keep up tradition, let us save and make sure that we don't screw up. I created things, and Father sold them.
So, these things you were making, you mean paintings identical to other paintings, right?
The closer they were, the happier Father was. I was happy too.
You don't look it. Still, you're quite young now. When did you begin this work?
My first painting was sold when I was 12.
Your Honor, she had no idea what she was doing was illegal. Irrelevant.
Easy there, little attorney. You're not here to defend her for the crime of forgery.
True. Please tell us more about this envelope. This envelope that may very well have killed your father.
Alright. This envelope came after my first work that was other than a painting. Okay, we're gonna need to know what the hell it was you forged.
By other than a painting, you mean you'd only done paintings up to that point?
Yes. But Father had a realization. He noticed my talent extended to making things other than paintings.
For instance?
For instance, a letter someone had written. Or a fingerprint left upon a...
Oh, holy shit. How do you do that? How do you manage to get a hold of somebody's fingerprints? Do you have it in?
Or a signature on a document. A seal upon a letter.
None of this makes her sound very innocent at all.
And the $100,000 promised in this letter was the start. The beginning of a new industry for Drew Misham.
A new industry?
The creation of items to be used in criminal proceedings. Forging evidence, in other words.
Yes. The big word that we shall not say in court.
Uh-oh.
Father handed the deal, all of it.
So you didn't know how the things you were making were being used, Mir?
I enjoy painting very much. Please answer the damn question!
I think I understand. The Fräulein has lived in an unusual little world.
Can you tell us what happened to the papers that were in this envelope?
Father signed them and sent them back, I believe.
Did he follow the instructions? Send in the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp. This is a rather important matter. Give your answer some thought. Ready, right?
I received the stamp that was in the envelope. Alright. What happened and why? Why wasn't it not used?
What do you mean you received it?
Cryface. Did I do something wrong?
You didn't use the stamp because it was dangerous, correct? Deadly poison on the back. Anthraquinine.
A moment, Airforehead.
Adaba.
You can't force an answer upon the witness. Now that perhaps you would tell me, Fräulein Vera, why did you receive this stamp?
Is something wrong?
It was...
Oh. Bullshit. You mean it was one of those commemorative stamps?
Yes, I think it was.
So, you didn't know about the poison?
She can't even show exasperated? Okay.
I guess not.
So the trap failed by chance, by mistake. Thanks to this commemorative stamp.
Quite the close call.
It was after that job that we moved to the current studio.
You mean you moved to where the current Drew studio is?
Yes, you saw very few people there. I began drawing picture books.
This single job had tied them to the criminal underworld. I think Mr. Misham wished to reduce their visibility in the world at large.
When we had to meet someone for some reason, Father posed as the creator of the work.
So, that was the real essence of the artist Drew Misham? You did the work, and he supplied the face. So, you really didn't know anything, did you? You had no idea how much danger you were in.
Yes.
Apparently not.
About this commemorative stamp. Could you tell us more about it?
What else do we need to know about it? I don't even... It was very pretty. And more than that,
Yes?
it was a picture of people I like at the
I liked it. What? Who? What?
You say I'm sure to record or stream? Oh, are you talking in reference to like the whole like sickness and stuff? Get back to me on that.
This is something new. Meow. Bop.
Yes, down with the sickness. Actually, again, I took last Saturday off because, oh god, funny enough, the actual head cold, it doesn't really debilitate me, but the antibiotics that I've been on, yeah, I got the bottle like right here. They're very hardcore, and that's why, because, yeah, they were fighting whatever it was that was sitting in there. But I've been on them for nearly 2 weeks now, and they're nearly gone, and hopefully I don't relapse. If that happens, then I don't know what to do. But actually, no, I'm pretty good right now. Like, this is the best I've felt in the last, like, 2 months while having this stupid thing. I mean, I think I might be a little bit sniffly. Does my voice sound okay while doing all of the voice stuff? I hope so. I think it's fine because I'm using a different set of headphones. But I'm good. I'm perfectly fine. You couldn't tell? Okay, good. Then we are solid. Alright, back to Clavier.
Apparently we've got some cross-examination yet ahead of us. If you'd be so kind as to continue your testimony, Fraulein.
Happy face. I love the, like, one picture answers. The stamp was a picture of my favorite magicians, so I can't... Oh my god!
Magicians?
I love mysterious things. I always have. Even though she fainted when she saw Mr. Hat?
You're confusing mysterious with freaky.
Father took me when I was very young. It was a great magic show. I loved it so much.
See? Isn't magic great? Fine, great, yeah, sure. No need to get all excited.
But the magic troupe we saw disbanded soon after. I was quite sad.
Did she just say what I think she said? Magic troupe. Nowhere ever heard that before. The red envelope came after she'd completed her first job. That makes it a letter from her client, whoever wanted a forgery made. Apollo! We're close. We just have to piece together the parts. A deadly weapon in a red envelope. And the path it took to take Drew Misham's life.
Obviously, it was David Blaine. No, I'm gonna blame Chris Angel because I like David Blaine a little bit more. Okay, interesting. So what are we going at here? I think Derpsidip. The stamp was a picture of my favorite magicians, so I kept it. You saw David Blaine live in Las Vegas. Oh, how was that? I'd never seen him live. I just know a bunch of stuff about his like street magic and... Actually, no. Does he do street magic? I think I've seen him do it before. I just know he does a whole lot of stunts and spectacles and things. It was fun. Ooh, that was like fun. I've been to some bum magic shows. Some crap ones. Nobody noteworthy. Alright. I feel like this might be the thing that we need to... You also saw Seinfeld. Oh my god. Did you bring a B-movie plush and just toss it in the air the entire time? Okay, alright. Stamp with a picture of my favorite magicians. I'm very... You never hated that movie? You know, I know a lot... It's a gigantic joke. Like... At the end of the day, it was basically made a meme because everyone's just sort of very confused about its existence. And all the weird stuff that's in it... I personally have seen snippets. I haven't seen the entire thing. I don't know, there's a part of me that kind of feels like I want to watch it. But then there's a part of me that's like, I feel like I'm going to be bored for most of it. I'm probably going to be laughing my ass off during like the... Well, funny enough, there are court scenes in there where quite literally what's his name? What's Seinfeld B's name? He sues the entire human race because that's great. Okay. Barry. Okay, cool. I feel like this is what I'm supposed to be pressing here, but maybe not. I don't know. After that job that we moved to the current studio, I have to sit through that entire... I received the stamp that was in the envelope. Father handled the deals. Right now we're trying to figure out, like, what, you know, stuff about the stamp, right? That's the goal of this. Let me just read that end again. The red envelope came after she completed her first job. That makes it a letter from her client, whoever wanted the forgery made. We're close, we just have to piece together the parts. Deadly weapon, rod envelope. And the path it took to take Drew Misham's life. I feel like we are trying to prove the significance of the stamp. But just because it has magicians on it doesn't mean it's tied directly to it. But I don't know about this game, so... Nah, I can't do anything with it. Maybe it's the magic show ticket. Like, maybe I need to present that. Frame measuring 2 inches by 2 inches. Bears traces of deadly poison. And then there's all the portraits. Well, portrait, acrylic, landscape. I kind of want to say this has to do with the show. Hey, sweet! Got it. I'm actually going to turn this up in my ear. Oh, damn it. Those magicians you liked, was it this bunch? Oh, hello. No signal. What are you talking about? Give me a second. Let me see if I can fix this. Initializing. Get to work. There. That was quick. The cord's starting to get finicky, so I'm controlling it on the desk just so I don't rattle around the cord. I'm going to turn the music up in my own ears because it's a little bit quiet. Those magicians you liked, was it this bunch? Apollo, they're not a bunch.
I see. Still have to wonder. Why include a commemorative stamp like that in a business letter?
Because there weren't any else around. Like, why is that important?
Good question.
No, it's not. Well, pretty stamps are always better, and you can't beat Troop Gramarye.
But the whole murder plan was a failure because of it. Ironic, don't you think? Prosecutor Gavin?
What are you thinking?
Prosecutor Gavin?
Gramarye.
What's with Gavin?
Might I ask just one question to this witness?
I got it.
In your testimony just now, you stated this was your first work that was other than a painting. Please tell me, what exactly did you make?
That's what I wanted to know. Can I ask why?
No, answer the question. Now!
Eek!
Prosecutor Gavin? You're usually not the one whose volume concerns me.
Yes, it is unbecoming of me, I apologize.
It is unbecoming of you. I'm usually the one that's screaming. We've never seen Clavier this angry. I've never seen him so flummoxed.
But I must know. Please, Miss Misham, tell me.
It was a book. A single page in a book.
A book? Please be more specific.
It was a handwritten book, like a diary. Oh, God. Why? Whose diary? No, I don't know. Was it your diary? What's wrong with Prosecutor Gavin? He looks like he just saw a ghost.
Miss Misham, this book. Was there a picture of a silk hat on the back cover? Yes or no?
How did you know?
Prosecutor Gavin, the defendant is answering all of your questions. Stop badgering her.
He told you nothing, has he? Your soiled, sullied mentor, nothing.
Sullied? Who?
Phoenix Wright, who else?
Daddy?
He never told you about the trial 7 years ago.
No, he's been keeping very quiet about that one.
About how he came to lose his attorney's badge?
I know about it.
It was a certain piece of evidence that decided his fate, you know. A certain diary.
Oh my God. He told me enough. He told me you beat him.
No. I am your father. On the back, it bore the mark of a silk hat.
What? No, Apollo, I am him. Yes. Phoenix Wright tossed out of the profession by false evidence? Sounds about right. That sounds about how Phoenix would go. And the forger who made that evidence is the girl standing right in front of me? Vera, you must tell us! The evidence you made was used in a trial 7 years ago. Who asked Drew Misham to forge that evidence? For all our sakes, who was it? Ooh, this is getting saucy. We only met once. You met the client? Well, who was it? It was... What's going on with Vera? She's staring at Prosecutor Gavin's face again.
Yes, what? Is there something about me?
I remember clearly. I remember who gave me the book, the diary.
Who was it? Got the suspense. Vera?
Oh no. devil? Oh God. Did she have a trigger cell in her to kill her on spot? Acute act. Oh my God! Who gave her Antoine? What? This ends the recording of the trial for the murder of Drew Misham. Vera Misham was, during the trial, poisoned by an unknown assailant. The dosage was just under the lethal amount, sparing the defendant's life. She's currently in intensive care and is not to be disturbed for any reason. A very simple case at first glance, until it finally began to show its true colors. The long road to the truth takes us to the record of another trial. Hey, buddy. In some ways, that was the starting point of it all. Oh my God! Oh, the short hair. And that is where we must go. Oh, it's so freaking adorable. To find the whole truth. So are we going back in time? Be continued. Wow, that was a very quick chapter. Damn. Showdown time. I lost. It's only a game of poker. A game I played for a long time. And only lost twice. Who was the first? The man I killed, of course. Well. Seems I found the partner I've been looking for all along. Oh boy. Over a game of cards? Why yes, over a game of cards. That was how we first met, 7 years ago. This is gonna be juicy. I have been looking forward to more Phoenix shit. Let's see how this turned out. April 19th, 9:27 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 2. Whew, okay. It's been a long time since I've felt like such a rookie. Gotta try and relax. Hello, Magic Man. Oh, good morning, Mr. Enigmar. Enigmar. God damn it.
I'm sorry you have sprung this on you so suddenly.
I received the files from your previous attorney only yesterday. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure I'm prepared.
I understand. I'm asking the impossible of you.
Yes, well, you haven't really told me what's happened yet. All we did was play cards. First trial without Mia or Maya's help, and he lost his badge. Oh, damn! That sucks.
And that was enough.
Actually, it wasn't. Trust me. And this adorable little butterball. Oh, morning, Daddy!
I'm so glad you came.
You okay, Daddy? They picking on you?
I'm fine as always. This old boy is here to help me after all.
That's young man to you. Not true, he didn't have Mia or Maya for Rise of the Ashes. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sure. Sometimes you forget. But he did have Emma, so that worked. Oh, good morning. That's a cute outfit you have on. Thanks, my first show's today, after all. Oh, I'm sure it is. What the heck is she talking about? Oh, old boy! Me? Look what he started. Here. Oh, damn. An adorable partner. Yes, an adorable partner, Emma Sky. What's this? I don't know. I just got it over there in the hall. They told me to give it to the old boy in the blue suit with the spiky hair. They said it was really important.
What's this? A memo for you or some such?
Not from the looks of it. What is this? Looks like a page from someone's diary. Well, I'll give it a read later. What the heck do I have in my... What's another thing in my inventory?
Well, how do you feel about the trial today?
Damn it. We'll get through it, somehow. Same here, with all these lines. Incidentally, the prosecutor today is a new guy, I hear.
Ah, an easy win then, yes?
They're calling him a true thoroughbred in the history of the prosecutor's office. Of course, there's one of those every year.
The switching of attorneys just before the trial. I know it is a difficult situation I put you in, but allow me to say one thing, Mr. Wright.
Yes?
They will not be able to pronounce me guilty today. So do your best, but do not worry.
First time the defendant's ever given me a pep speech. And I'll do what I can.
I see you do not understand. You see, it will be impossible for them to declare a verdict.
Impossible?
Yes. Isn't that right, Trucy?
Yep, you bet, Daddy. My first look at the case was only yesterday, and the information I was given was a tad bit lacking, to be honest. Still, I'll do what I can, for their sake.
I believe the curtains will be lifting any time now. I'm in your capable hands, Mr. Wright.
My client is Shady Enigmar. Good lord, his freaking name. I like his stash, yes. I agree, he's got a very nice stash. It looks very well groomed. Known to the world as Zach Gramarye. A wildly popular magician, star of Troupe Gramarye. His mentor, Magnific Gramarye, was a rare breed of magician. He single-handedly ushered in a golden age of stage magic, until he was shot dead. And Zach Gramarye is the suspect. I do like how we've got a whole bunch of classic, music stings going on. April 19th, 10 o'clock a.m., District Court, courtroom number 7. Ooh.
Court is now in session for the trial of Shady Enigmar.
The defense is ready, Your Honor. Hello, sir.
Is the prosecution ready?
I was just thinking, is this what all the fuss is about? Bit of a buzzkill, really.
Buzzkill? Is this some new kind of crime?
One of the worst. This is a trial, yeah? Where are the sweaty palms, the pounding hearts? A Gavanier's concert's got 10 times the thrill that gigs got.
Who were you again?
Clavier Gavin. I came to get the party started. Legally, yeah?
Gavin? Defense attorney Christoph Gavin's...
Oh, figures my bro's more famous in this part of town.
Clavier Gavin. Lead singer for the mega hit band The Gaviniers. You're out of your league, rock boy.
I know what you're thinking. You're out of your league, rock boy.
Get out of my head.
True, my debut single, 13 Years Hard Time for Love, went platinum overnight. But that's just a hobby to me compared to this, huh?
Talkative, aren't you? I like your affected Euro rock accent, by the way. I don't have that, so screw it.
I'm just getting warmed up, Attorney Wright.
At least he gives me the benefit of the... At least he allows me no nicknames.
Perhaps you'd be so kind as to fill us in on the case.
Done, baby. Time to call on the opening act. What was his name again? Yes, Detective Gumshoe. Hit it.
Gumshoe! It's been forever since I've seen this dude.
And you are?
That affected Euro rock accent line was supposed to tell you he's not actually German. Oh. I guess that works in this case.
Hey, you were the one who called me up here, sir. Name's Dick Gumshoe. I'm a homicide detective down at the precinct.
Detective Gumshoe. Long time no see.
Hey, you!
Yeah, we're kind of glued to each other.
Huh, me? Today's the day, pal. The day I win and you lose. I got confident in my testimony today. See?
What? You normally lack confidence in your testimony?
Detective, this is my stage. Can the antics.
Uh-huh.
All this hey-ing and such. And I care less about your history together.
Why do you have to beat him up? God damn it.
Very well, Detective Gumshoe. If you would, please tell us about the case at hand. It happened 6 days back in a room at the General Hospital.
Oh my god, that's a heck of a beard.
The facts are simple as they come. Here's the crime scene. The victim was a patient, asleep in the hospital bed. The killer comes in, puts a pistol to his forehead, and bam, lights out.
It's not a very messy wound for a gunshot.
Them's the facts.
Maybe they cleaned him up.
Not so long ago, the victim, Magnifi Gramarye, was a famous man. He had the entire country under his magical spell, as it were.
I see you've read the tabloids.
Ah, yes, the great magician. He retired years ago, though. Say the name Magnifi to one of my generation, and you'd be lucky to get a blank stare.
Yes. Though I'm sure the youngsters today know his disciples even better. I dare say Troop Gramarye has made quite a name for themselves. Anyhow, the retired Magnifi's been in the hospital for the last year. What was it? A mal-ignorant tutor or something? Doing something to his liver, I think. A malignant tumor, perhaps?
In other words, he had liver cancer. He had only 3 months left to live, in fact.
That sucks. Jeez, dude, he's gonna die in 3 months. You want to give him that 3 months?
The facts do seem simple enough, but something's not right.
The victim was already climbing a 3-month stairway to heaven. Why not wait for him to knock, knock, knock on heaven's door? Why shoot him?
Exactly! Why would anyone want him out of the picture that quickly? I wouldn't have put it quite so lyrically, but it's true. Why make the effort to commit murder when the victim was about to die?
Incidentally, the victim had a serious case of diabetes.
My god, this guy was a mess. Diabetes?
In fact, he was about to shoot up with insulin. When he was shot with a pistol, the syringe was found at the crime scene. Chronic diabetes and cancer.
Wow. I mean, he was a magician, so he's very lucky he had that. But that's a hell of a lot of things to be carrying.
As much as it pains me to say it, the victim was clearly at the end of his life.
So why kill him?
I believe the question before us is clear, then. Why did the killer have to shoot the dying man? What reason could he have had?
Very well, Detective. Perhaps you can enlighten us as to the circumstances of the shooting?
Yes, sir.
Well, let's see.
Actually, the victim kinda ordered the defendant to do him in.
What? Why?
A few days before it happened, the victim sent a letter ordering his own murder. The defendant did what was asked of him and shot the old man in the forehead. The bullet was fired from the pistol found at the scene, no doubt about it. And the pistol definitely belonged to the old man, sir.
I mean, it makes sense, but what the hell?
What? You're saying the victim ordered his own shooting?
Those are the facts. I have here the letter in question.
Interesting. Let me go ahead and read this. To my beloved... Oh, hey! Don't take that away from me! No, screw you. I'm reading it right now. To my beloved student Zack, to you I entrust the task of lowering my life's curtain. Come on the 13th, 11:05 p.m. I will ready a gun with which you will shoot. One shoot, square in the forehead. You cannot refuse, and we both know the reason why. That's dark. Well, now that we've read that, what the heck's this notebook page? Mysterious paper received just before the trial. It seems fate's clock will make me wait a little longer, at least. Only less than 10 swift minutes to remain. To all those who have supported me in my life's work, I give thanks. Farewell. Magnifi Grammary. Interesting. So he would have wrote that 10 minutes before his death? Weird. Diagnosed with a malignant tumor, given 3 months. Anything else related to it? Interesting. Just kind of some information about that. And then there's a small syringe. Ooh, I can actually check it. Hold on. Oh, I always hated getting shots. I guess Magnifi was giving himself the insulin shots. There's no way I could do that. Wait. If Magnifi used this to inject his insulin, why are there no traces of it having ever been used? Something to keep in mind. Very strange. My god. Yeah, I could not see myself being able to do that. I hope I never get any kind of diabetes at any point in my life, because that's going to be a hell on toast for me. I have like a pretty good phobia of needles and that kind of a thing, and I'm just even like, you know, not doctor syringes, just like really freaking sharp, pointy needles. So that's the crime photo. Dang. Mario Kimon says ditto. Okay, I guess that's everything in here. Sorry.
Very unusual indeed. Although, could such a thing as a letter really cause one to pull a trigger, I wonder?
I believe the answer to that question can be found at the end of the letter.
Ah, you cannot refuse, and we both know the reason why. Detective Gumshoe, can you explain this to the court?
Unfortunately, even the defendant won't stay a peep about that bit, sir. One thing bothers me about this. Why didn't he just say 11? Why have him come at 11:05 without some specific reason?
The devil is in the details. Yeah, Tony?
Well, was there some reason?
As it turns out, there was. Every night for a half hour, starting at 11 o'clock, the victim, Magnifi Grammary, was given an IV.
An IV?
Well, there it is in the picture, off to the side of the bed.
At 11 o'clock, a doctor would come to set up the IV. 30 minutes later, he would come back for the empty bag. This happened every night, without fail.
So that was the only time they could meet without the chance of an untimely interruption. During his IV?
Very well. Shall we begin? Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you would.
What's this reason he couldn't refuse, I wonder? He could have at least mentioned it to me. Alright. Time to do a little bit of Phoenix justice. But first off, a little bit of saving. Hey. Actually, the victim kind of ordered the defendant to do him. Yep. Just because he got the letter doesn't mean he went through with it.
Oh, I disagree. The victim was indeed shot in the forehead, after all. Just as he had commanded.
It could be a setup. But let's not be in such a hurry. Maybe we should let the witness talk for a change. Thanks, pal.
Fine. I can play it slow as well as I can play it fast. On with the testimony, Detective Gumshoe.
A few days before it happened, the victim sent a letter ordering his own murder.
And this letter was sent by the victim?
There it is! Gotcha! You're all mine this time, pal! I had the handwriting checked out, of course. It's the victim's. No mistake.
Ah, I see.
Score one for the boys!
I didn't lose, I was just ascertaining the facts.
So why am I so annoyed? But a letter ordering your own death? Things aren't what they used to be, I guess.
I'm not sure this is exactly commonplace, even now, Your Honor.
So anyway, guess I'll keep going while I'm ahead. The defendant did what was asked of him and shot the old man in the forehead.
How can you be so sure?
Hey, you gotta learn to stop relying on people to do your thinking for you, pal. Learn to think for yourself. Get that noggin cranking.
You failed to grasp the concept of questioning, Detective.
First we got this letter. It says, shoot, in the forehead. Loud and clear.
I can see that, but I still wouldn't do it.
Well, maybe you need to grow yourself a backbone, pal.
You fail to grasp the concept of shooting people is bad, Detective.
We also found the defendant's pistol at the scene.
Traces of gunpowder residue show that it had been fired recently.
Well, Mr. Wright, as far as I can tell from looking at this photo, there seems to be no issue with the prosecution's claim.
Really? Let me take a look at this real quick. I'm kind of curious as to why the IV would not be in his arm at the time. Hello, Bitmine. Because that's what I'm... Also, is there a bullet wound in the doll in the top left corner? It's oddly symmetrical. What the fuck? No, the first thing I thought was he doesn't have the IV in. If he had the IV inserted at 11 o'clock, why would you pull that out? There's no direct reason. The photo. Maybe there's something in there I can use. So they're saying the defendant shot the victim in the forehead. I think there's a hole in this prosecution's argument. Clearly, Mr. Enigma didn't pull the trigger. Shot something else. Looking at this photo, another possibility occurs to me.
Yes?
What does the letter tell us? That the defendant had a reason he couldn't refuse his teacher's wishes.
Bingo, pal. That's why the defendant popped him one in the forehead.
Oh, the defense disagrees. You see, the defendant had another choice he could make.
Oh, yes?
What? And you can prove that with this photo?
I can prove he had a choice, yes.
The defendant might have fired like he was ordered, but he didn't shoot the victim's forehead. Well, let's hear what you're thinking, Mr. Wright. If he didn't shoot the victim's forehead, what did the defendant shoot?
Ah ha ha! I gotcha. This thingy right here.
The clown doll?
Take a closer look, see? It's been shot in the forehead, too. Why would you shoot a clown doll?
Doc, there's a hole in its forehead.
Yes, and a hole in the prosecution's claim.
And I suppose a reason as to why he'd shoot the clown doll?
He didn't just shoot the doll. He shot the doll's forehead.
His forehead?
Let's read the orders once more, shall we? You will shoot one shot square in the forehead. Which is exactly what he did. He shot the clown doll square in the forehead. That's such a weird technicality, and why would you shoot the doll? Why would you even go there in the first place? What the hell's going on? I'm confused.
the defense has raised an intriguing possibility. That hole in the clown's forehead, it definitely looks like it was shot. Bailiff, send someone to investigate this matter.
I admit I'm impressed, but I expected nothing less. Still, this doesn't mean he didn't shoot the victim.
Perhaps he did have to shoot a forehead as ordered, but the letter says nothing about whose forehead. This was the only way he had to follow his orders without taking a life. Damage intensifies.
The bullet hole in the clown's doll's forehead does demand an explanation. It might very well be a clue, yet Prosecutor Gavin is right. It alone does not prove the defendant's innocence. You cannot say for sure the defendant didn't shoot the victim.
So sorry, Mr. Wright. How sad is it to see the mighty fall?
How sad is it to see the novice overconfidence? He doesn't realize just how big this little hole is going to get. There.
Detective Gumshoe, please take this newfound fact into account as you continue your testimony. And so what if he shot the clown? He still shot the victim, pal.
All right. That was a very good play. That's a very good amount of progress I'm going to save. Still shot the victim? Okay. I mean, wasn't there a part that said one shot? So technically he couldn't shoot twice if we're really going to go semantics on this stuff. So let me get this straight. You're saying my client first shot the clown, then shot the victim?
Hey, not a bad summary, pal.
More of a confirmation than a summary, but whatever.
That was really more of a confirmation than a summary. But our defense attorney seems pleased enough with himself.
Do these people ever miss a chance to mock me?
Well, now that Mr. Wright's gotten that out of his system, shall we continue with the testimony?
I didn't have time to gather all the details before coming here. This testimony might be my only source of information. Better pay attention and read this letter carefully. Yeah, I think that's exactly what we're hinting at. I play Stardew Valley? Yes. I tend to play it on Sundays, but I'm getting a tad bit burnt out because I'm in, like, third year, and I got very little else to do. And I'm waiting for multiplayer to come out. I so badly want it to come out. For those confused on the Twitch channel, people are talking to me on the Mixer one. Okay. So, bullet was fired from the pistol found at the scene, no doubt about it. Pistol definitely belonged to the old man. So what if he shot the victim? He still shot the... Okay. What if he shot the clown? He still shot the victim, pal. You're in the fourth year. Whew. Basically, my fourth year is just going to be spent trying to make as much money as possible, if I do the stream. Okay, so if I look at the letter, I entrust the task of lowering my life's curtain. Come on the 13th level. I will just one shot square in the... Alright. It specifies one shot. I kind of think this might be it. Have I gotten iridium? Yes, I have. Damn! Your Honor, that statement contradicts this evidence.
No, it does. I don't see anything contradictory.
Really?
Objection overruled. Trying to think before making accusations, Mr. Wright.
Whoops, that didn't go well. Ah, crap. Okay. Pistol definitely belonged to the old man. The bullet was fired from the pistol found at the scene. Yeah. The defendant did what was asked of him and shot the old man in the forehead. The victim sent a letter ordering his own murder. I mean, this is the new piece of testimony, so this is probably it. So what if he shot the clown? He still shot the victim, pal. Is there any proof to the contrary that I got on my hand? I don't know. I've already tried to present the letter, so that won't work. I mean, it certainly looks like he's got a bullet wound. Thinking about this one. I didn't really press any of the other bits of the testimony, so... Here. So which one of these was... Okay. Bullet was fired from the pistol found at the scene, no doubt about it. Let me see if this does anything. You mean this pistol? The one in the crime scene photo?
That's the one. It's a funny-looking gun, so there's no mistaking it.
We compared the bullet taken from the victim's skull with a bullet fired from this gun. The rifling marks on the bullets were a perfect match.
So, you verified the murder weapon, in other words.
You bet we did.
Turns out to be black marker. That would be such a piss over.
And the pistol definitely belonged to the old man.
I don't know why this would be anything, but... Why are you so certain?
What pile of sand has your head been stuck in all this time, pal? You never heard of Zack and Valent's quick draw shoot 'em?
What's that?
One of the defendant's specialties.
Hello, friend?
Zack and Valent stand on either side of a girl, then they shoot. But the bullets don't hit her. Instead, they hit everything else on stage. This was one of the pistols they used in their show. Got a great design, huh? Kids love it.
Many boys and girls joined the police because of that pistol, I hear.
You know, that would explain a lot about the police force.
Troop Grammary stopped doing that act a while ago. The old man held on to that pistol ever since. The court would like to see the pistol in question. You got it, sir. Yeah, here she is. Well, this truly is a blast from the past. It's a stage pistol for magic shows, see? But it can fire real bullets. It looks so much bigger in real life than on TV. Yeah, but it can only hold one round. By the way, the pistol's firing chamber is empty. And it shows traces of having been fired recently.
So, were any fingerprints found on the gun?
Unfortunately, no. Of course, the defendant is known for wearing gloves. We might say that a lack of fingerprints is, in fact, a fingerprint of its own.
Aha! Intriguing point. Well made. Whoa. Not well made. Not intriguing. In any case, the court accepts this evidence.
There we go. That's what we're looking for. Judge watches magic shows. Judge watches anything that contains controversy and strange mysticism.
My grandchild will get a kick out of seeing this. But now it's time to return to our testimony.
Well, right. I have my answer.
So what if he shot the clown? He still shot the victim, pal.
No, he couldn't, because there was only one chamber for a bullet. Objection! There we go. The trickiest cases often seem the simplest. Prosecutor Gavin, you missed the bullet hole in the clown's forehead. If you hadn't missed that, you might have come to a very different conclusion. Understand?
Yeah, but like I just said, pal, after he shot the clown in the forehead, he went at...
Did nothing of the sort to the victim. The pistol proves he could not.
The murder weapon? How?
It's quite simple, Your Honor. This pistol only holds one bullet at a time. If he had shot the clown in the forehead, he couldn't have shot the victim too! One shot, one kill.
That's not a contradiction. Not even close. All he had to do was reload the pistol after the first shot.
Oh, where did you get the extra bullet? They're not so easy to come by, you know. If you claim the defendant had one ready, then prove it to us now how he got it.
I had a feeling this wasn't over yet. No, this party's just getting started. And I haven't proven anything yet beyond my good looks and startling record sales.
And utter lack of humility. Objection 2004. I'm trying to remember. Objection 2001 is like the original one, correct? I think that is it. I don't know. Maybe it's because I love the first Phoenix Wright so much, but I love the original music score. So I am cool with what is happening now.
Ah, what's this? It seems that the prosecution has another witness prepared.
Where's the other chat? It's over on Mixer, and Mixer has about like 1.5 delay between me and the chat. So yes, Bitmine is currently over on the other one.
Like I said, Air Detective, it's just the warm-up act.
Good.
Now that the audience has gotten a taste of what's to come, they're ready.
Ready for what?
For my decisive witness, of course. A witness who, you will find, can prove one thing for us. That it was Zach Gramery who shot the victim in the forehead.
Very well. We will pause for a 15-minute recess.
Trials and Tribulations score is good at times. I like a lot of the music in Phoenix Wright. Like it's very nice. Well, I mean, you can clearly I mean, there's certain like specific set pieces, just being like the objection theme. Ooh, the cornered themes and all that stuff. This might be my lucky break. I'll need that 15 minutes to talk to my client, Zach.
Court is adjourned.
To be continued. I'm curious. I want to see what more happens. Add it up. There we goes. I know that in the newer games that came out, like what was it? Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Dual Destinies. I know that they do a bunch of reworkings of, like Objection to, I think Objection 2004. Spirit. Oh yeah, Spirit of Justice is what that is, right? SOJ, is that what that means? Actually, I think I heard about. I know about Dual Destinies, but I actually have heard basically nothing about Spirit of Justice. So I'm kind of interested in seeing what the heck that is. Like, I'm very, very empty on that one. I know a little bit about Dual Destinies. And that's from, like, watching one trailer. Anyway. Spirit of Justice is good. I'm looking forward to. April 19th, 11:21 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2.
Very impressive, Mr. Wright, I have to say. I expected nothing less.
You've only just begun. I was hoping you could tell me a bit more about what happened, actually.
I did not think you would believe me if I told you. Better that you discovered the truth for yourself. I was thinking of you, you know. I think we need less thinking and more talking.
That night in the hospital, what really happened?
Ah, the way your eyes gleam, Mr. Wright. You'll scare Trucy.
Speaking of which, where is she?
You've seen the problem yourself, the letter.
The one shot in the forehead one, right?
Yes, and the reason he speaks of. I could not deny my mentor's wishes, even if it meant my own death.
Why not?
This is something I will not say. For now, at least.
What's this for now business? And what shadiness is this? You're freaking magicians! I mean, I know you have certain secrets, but this shouldn't be one of them. Spirit of Justice and Dual Destinies both have remixes of Objection 2004. I am looking forward to.
I've done many things in my life, some well, some poorly. This is a cross we must bear alone to our graves.
We?
You wanted to know about the night of the incident?
Finally, this guy sure likes to take his time getting to the important stuff.
Of course, I had no intention of shooting my mentor. I snuck into his room that night at the appointed time and found there upon his bedside table 2 pistols.
2? Shit! Oh, it throws my theories out the window.
2. Yes, the one I had used on stage, and the one that had been used by my partner, Valent.
Oh, for the Zach and Valent quick draw thing?
My mentor had the look of one sleeping. I stood by his bedside, hearing only the light sound of his breathing. Then I took the pistol into my hand. I cannot deny that my resolve faltered then for a moment.
You faltered? You mean you thought about shooting him?
Recall there was a reason I could not refuse his request. His last such request, though not his first.
So, there were other requests you couldn't refuse before?
To be honest, I've not always been steadfast, and I fear I've brought pain upon Trucy.
Was Magnifique coerced? Coercing his disciple somehow? Just what was going on in Troop Gramarye?
Yet, in the end, I did not shoot him. Instead, I turned and shot the clown. I took the pistol I had fired and placed it in my pocket.
In your pocket?
I believe if you examine the bullet in the clown's head, you will find it to be different than the one in my mentor.
What were those called? Rifling marks.
Yes, well, that is all I have to tell you concerning the case.
Concerning the case? You mean there's something else you can't tell me?
You are a fascinating man, Mr. Wright.
Thanks. Plot loop. Brashel did it.
That would be insane. Yes, there is something. My mentor, his eyes opened.
What? Magnifique Gramarye?
The old devil, he was not asleep, you see. Of course, the gunshot would have woken him anyway. And there we had our last discussion as mentor and pupil. It was not a long discussion, maybe 5-10 minutes or so.
What did you talk about?
Mr. Wright, did I not just tell you? It does not concern this case. Zack Gramarye.
Seems pretty steadfast to me. Or maybe just stubborn. Mr. Wright, your presence is requested in the courtroom.
Once again, I am in your hands.
Right. Let's get back in there. Crap. What are you not telling me, you bastard? April 19th, 11:37 a.m., District Court, courtroom number 7.
Court is now back in session.
During our recess, a bullet was found in and dug out from the clown's head.
Well, this is news. And the rifling marks?
There wasn't time to do a detailed analysis, though they did find the weapon type matches the murder weapon.
Well, that's not very conclusive, is it?
Which is why I'm about to call my very decisive witness.
The judge did it. I don't think so. I think he's too old and too confused to do that. Your decisive witness? How many times have I heard those words? Though they often turn out to be far less decisive than you think.
Oh, don't worry. On my account, I'm quite confident this witness will do the job. After all, he is intimately acquainted with the players in our little production, being the other half of Troop Gramarye's famous duo, Zack and Valent.
Valent Gramarye. So we get to meet the great Magnifique's other disciple. Yeah, you bastard, how you doing?
Perhaps I'll start by asking your name and occupation.
Valent Gramarye, magician. And you're the decisive witness, are you? You can prove your fellow student your partner's guilt. Fate, the grand illusion, filled with traps and tricks.
Wait, the shooting took place in the hospital after 11 o'clock at night. If you're a witness, does that mean you were there that late?
If one were to deduce this logically, the conclusion is yes!
Okay. I always get the characters, don't I?
I have an interesting fact for you. You see, several days before the crime, my witness received this.
That looks very familiar.
Wait. That's the same letter Zach Gregory received! Yes! Or perhaps I should say, ta-da! Oh my god! So this was a fight for loyalty. Mike, what the hell?
Order, order, order! And what does it say? Surely not the same thing.
Perhaps you should see for yourself.
DYN task of lowering my life's curtain. Come on the 13th. What the hell? That's a different time. 11:20 p.m. I will ready a gun with which to shoot. One shot square in the forehead. You cannot refuse. Oh boy.
The court accepts this into evidence.
So now I'm starting to think that you're guilty.
This is most unusual. Exactly what was going on with you folks? What exactly was your troop Gramarye up to?
By which you mean?
I'm just having trouble envisioning a man who would ask his students to kill him. Both of them, no less. At different times.
It's just my opinion there, Judge. But from these letters, I'd say he was coercing them, not asking them.
We walked the magician's path together, and in doing so shared much of our lives. When people are so close, there's a strain, a warping of relations, you might say. Yet this has nothing to do with the case at hand. By which you mean you're not going to tell us. God damn. Which makes me wonder even more about this reason they couldn't refuse.
Well, let's get on with the testimony for starters. The defendant, Zach Gramarye, stands accused. Tell us why.
Oh, I'll do more than that. For where he walks, the red rose rise sing... Wait, Jesus Christ. For where he walks, the red roses rise singing hymns to the miracle that is magic. Stop the moon speak. I don't... Fascinating. Though I hardly need to remind you that the evidence could just as clearly point to you as the suspect. The letter, the murder weapon, and now the 2 bullets found at the scene of the crime. Still case 4? I think so. I'm pretty freaking sure. I think this is all just one gigantic flashback.
In fact, the other difference seems to be the designated time.
As every magician knows, timing is everything.
Yes. And now it's time to get this party fired up.
Mario Kimon says, yes, it is all case 4. Oh boy. That night I visited the hospital room at the time Magnifi requested. The smell of gunpowder hung in the room, and my mentor had taken his final bow. I did not imagine my fellow student might have received the same instructions. Yet a deal with the dead is still a deal. Death's sweet kiss I gave to the clown. Then I informed the doctor and the police. Yeah, you handed us a letter that said you showed up there at 11:20.
So, you were the one who reported the crime?
Indeed, I would think. This fact alone would clear my name of suspicion. Let's not jump to any conclusions.
Yes, the cross-examination generally comes before the conclusions in the court. But if your testimony proves to be true, then the defendant, Zach Gramarye, is guilty.
And if it wasn't Zach Gramarye, then the killer was you, Valent. And no disappearing act will get you out of that. The night of the crime. This is very interesting. I must save real quick. Just so we're covered. What's my second channel? Right now, I am dual streaming to both Twitch and I am streaming up to Mixer. If that's what you're referring to. Okay. That night I visited the hospital room at the time that we requested. That said, Twitch has got about like a 10-second lag. So if you wanted to have it like more like one-on-one, then Mixer is better. Mixer is kind of better. Twitch has got more integration into other things. Okay, so I want to take a look at something real quick. Let me look at the notebook page again. Because maybe this makes sense now. It seems fixed clock will make me wait a little longer, at least. Only less than 10 swift Holy shit. Okay. So according to this... Okay, I guess this is a forged piece of evidence, but apparently this is a piece of letter that proves that the shooting came after the first one. Well, I think we already got this one wiped up and ready to go. But let's go ahead and press him anyways. That night I visited the hospital room at the time McAfee requested. Which, according to the letter, was 11:20 p.m. Indeed. In magic, timing is everything. Right. Consider the illusion of teleportation. If I were to appear on stage before my stunt... shut up. You're not supposed to say it. No, do not say it. It's magic. Stunt double has left. How would that look? Why, it would reveal the very secrets of my magic. Now that you revealed the very secrets of your magic for all of us, let's move on. You went as the designated time, and what did you see? The smell of gunpowder hung in the room, and my mentor had taken his final bow. So, you weren't worried for your own safety at all? I mean, you smelled gunpowder, yes? What if the shooter was still nearby? I did not consider this, to be honest. It is forbidden for a magician to have a good imagination. What? Why? How? Really? I'm gonna say that's a lie. Isn't magic all about illusions and imagination? How about this? You were the shooter, which is why you weren't afraid. Now you're the one imagining. It is forbidden for a lawyer to have a good imagination. No, it's not. I don't know, it kind of gets me in trouble, actually. The witness will refrain from pausing so suspiciously before responding. My forbidden imagination is starting to imagine things. Oh, God, I love it. I did not imagine my fellow student might have received the same instructions. It's not exactly the same. Which brings us back to this reason neither of you could refuse. So it does. And my partner, he did not refuse. But McAfee wrote the same thing to you. Why could you refuse if Zack couldn't? Because I have a will of steel, of course. I also do this trick where I bend steel bars, so perhaps steel isn't also strong. So which is it? Mind if I continue? Get a deal with the dead is still a deal. Death's sweet kiss. I gave it to the clown. There were 2 bullet holes at the scene. One in the victim, and one in the clown. You're saying the one who shot the clown was you? No doubt my partner Zack had said much the same thing. Yeah, because whoever didn't shoot the clown committed murder. I'd better dig around here a bit more and see what I turn up. Mr. Valiant, let me ask about something else concerning my crime scene. Namely, the bullet and the pistol. The location of the pistol. The number of pistols. Alright, what's going on? We already know what the answer is. But we need to figure out like how we're supposed to get to that end, to that factor. Let me ask about something else concerning the crime scene. Well, I guess are we well aware of has anybody in the courtroom specified that there were 2 pistols? Actually, come to think of it, he would specify that there was only 1. So, I don't think that's going to work because, well, first, okay. Yeah. First magician did not say anything about the number of pistols that were there on the scene at the time. So the second one would have, I don't know, we would need to bring him back in to be able to prove to him that do I have something up on record to actually prove that there were 2 pistols at the scene? I mean, there's only like 1 stage pistol located now. So I don't think so. I don't think I can prove it that way. Let me ask about something else concerning the crime scene, namely the bullet. No. The location. You know what? It's the most noteworthy thing, I think, so the number. How many pistols were there when you entered the room? By which you mean what, precisely? 2 pistols were used in the Zack and Valent quick draw shoot 'em, correct? 1 for each of you. You are well informed. Yet, only one of my old friends sat in the hospital room that night. What did Zack tell me back in the lobby?
Of course, I had no intention of shooting my mentor. I snuck into his room that night at the appointed time and found there upon his bedside table 2 pistols. I took the pistol I had fired and placed it in my pocket. I see no problem with that statement. Only 1 pistol is visible in the photograph of the crime scene, after all.
So you picked up that pistol and fired it.
Indeed I did. Alakazam. Alakazing. Alakaboom. Is the number of pistols really so important?
I'd say so. The number of pistols is quite important, Your Honor.
Very well. Please add this detail to your testimony. What can I do but obey?
Only 1 pistol was in the hospital room that night. With it, I shot the clown. That is a cup of noodles. I believe that is a noodle emoji of some kind. Either that or it's very small. It kind of also looks like... No, it's noodles. For a second, it actually looked like one of those honeycomb thingies. Okay, so we've unlocked this thing. Only 1 pistol was in the hospital room that night. With it, I shot the clown. Oh, darn noodles. Would just presenting this pistol be the answer? Objection! Oh my god, it is! All right, sure. According to the defendant, Zack Gramery, when he entered the room, there were 2 pistols on that table.
2?
One of those pistols he used to shoot the clown in the forehead. Then he left with it in his pocket.
Of course, this is what he would say. Unlike the hapless clown, we must assume our defendant has some brains in his head.
Well, what about what Mr. Valente told us? You see, there's something about his testimony that doesn't make sense.
What might that be?
I told you I took the pistol that was there and shot the clown. That's your story, at least. But the rifling marks tell a very different story, Mr. Valent. Recall what Professor Gavin told us.
We compared the bullet taken from the victim's skull with a bullet fired from this gun. The rifling marks on this bullet were a perfect match.
Mr. Valent, if you fired this pistol, then you shot the victim in the forehead! Gotcha.
Order, order, order! Well, this is all rather sudden.
What have I done?
Prosecutor Gavin?
I owe the court an apology. Sorry.
Sorry for what?
You see, I was unaware that 2 of these unique pistols were crafted. The analysis of the rifling marks only proved the type of gun that fired them.
Well, damn it. But that's not what you told us before. You said you verified the murder weapon.
Which is why I'm apologizing to you now. Quite sincerely, I might add. Would you hold me accountable for a mistake made in my youth?
That was just this morning.
I am still young. And I might add, it wasn't really my fault. If the defendant had only admitted he took 1 pistol from the scene of the crime, we would not be having this pleasant discussion now.
Error. Valent Gramery, Yes, Your Honor. You were presented to this court as a decisive witness, but you've proven to be more divisive than decisive.
It's decisive enough for me.
You'll see. In time. Testimony so far has merely been a review of the facts. The proof comes next.
Care to elaborate, Prosecutor Gavin?
When Mr. Vallet entered the hospital room, the victim had already been shot. As his next testimony will prove, right, the real fight is about to begin.
Bring it.
Very well. The witness will now bring it to the court. Help us determine who shot what.
I arrived in the hospital room at the appointed time, which is to say 11:20 p.m. After discovering the body, I fulfilled my obligations, then called in the doctor. The doctor examined the body before the police arrived. He was quite clear about the time of death, 11:10 p.m. And the one in the room at the time was my partner, not me.
Those times are rather close, you'd have to admit. You're talking about an alibi established over a matter of minutes. To use a 10-minute discrepancy as the basis of your alibi?
Is easy to explain in this situation, Herr Judge. For example, take our debut hit single, 13 Years Hard, Time for Love. Cue to the song, press the play button, and it will play for 2 minutes 15 seconds. Do it 100 times, the result is the same.
Their debut single was only 2 minutes and 15 seconds long? What a ripoff. It's kind of I mean, 3 is kind of the regular number for songs. I'm kind of okay. Like, if a song's good, then it could be like a minute and a half for all I care.
Magic is a world of utmost precision. Hocus Pocus requires admirable focus. And in the time of death determined by the doctor, there is an incontrovertible truth.
Very well. The prosecution warns us that we're dealing with rather precise times. And we can expect the cross-examination to require the same level of precision.
I would hope the defense refrains from its customarily broad, sweeping accusation, lest we blur the focus this case so clearly demands.
Point taken. Baseless remarks will result in a penalty. Carry on, Mr. Wright.
Carry on. Right. Okay then. Who shot what? So I'm going to save real quick. I got an idea of how we're going to prove that it was, you know, the timing of the whole damn thing. Let me see. Arrived in the hospital room at the appointed time. Okay, so I need to check. Cause of death, single gunshot to the head. Estimated time of death, 11 o'clock to 11:30. So it could be either one of them with this. But this, specifically, notes, it seems fate's clock will make me wait a little longer, at least. Only less than 10 swift minutes remain. To all those who have supported me in my life's work, I give thanks. Farewell. So, in this case, let me just take a look at all of this evidence. The doctor examined the body before the police arrived. He was quite clear about the time of death, 11:10 p.m. Well, that proves one thing for certain. Well, the one in the room at the time was my partner, not me. I mean, okay. I think now would be a good time to start pressing, because I don't see anything concrete to, like, press at, so. 11:20 p.m. Can you prove that's when you arrived? Alas, such a feat may be beyond even the great Valent. For there was no one in that room but Magnifi, as he was departed after a fashion.
I have here Defendant Zach Gramley's sworn deposition. I snuck into his room that night at the appointed time. It was 10 minutes before I left the room, and the victim was still alive.
The time indicated by this letter to Zack was 11:05 p.m.
Exactly. Which means the witness could not have entered that room before 11:15, because his partner was still in the middle of his crime.
I see someone did their arithmetic homework.
You see, the defendant himself has corroborated the witness's testimony.
Does that all make sense? I'm not going to say anything just yet.
If you say so, let's continue, shall we?
Sometimes the most magical things of all is the truth. So let's take a look at this. After discovering the body, I fulfilled my obligation. And then I called in the doctor. You walk in on a murder, and the first thing you do is shoot the clown. The disciple does what the disciple must. My mentor's request, without reason, had caused for me to a surfeit of sorrow. For what would I, Valent, be now without him? May the soul of Magnify the Great find greater peace above. This I muttered to myself as I pulled that lonely trigger.
In any case, I believe this is nothing more than what we have already learned. I'm still waiting for one of those right moments, Heir Attorney.
May I remind you that baseless remarks will earn penalties. Proceed with that in mind.
Yes, Your Honor. What a pain this is turning out to be. The doctor examined the body before the police arrived. Okay, let's see what happened. Did the doctor say anything concerning the cause of death? Why, yes, I believe he screamed, "My God, he's been shot in the head!"
Doesn't take a doctor to notice that. I believe I would have said much the same thing.
And I would have penned the requiem that arose in my soul at the horrid sight.
Whatever happened to good old-fashioned investigation?
In any case, I believe this is nothing more than what we have already learned. I'm still waiting for one of those right moments, Heir Attorney.
May I remind you, baseless remarks, proceed, hope and derp.
And the one in the room at that time was my partner, not me. You entered that hospital room at 11:20 p.m. The time given by the defendant, Zack Gramery, was 11:05 p.m. You didn't run into him at the hospital that night. This is why I never perform with amateurs, you see. Picture, if you will, the nighttime hospital. Outside, only the pale light of the moon. If two dressed as we were to meet in such circumstances, I dare say that would ruin the mood completely.
The mood isn't in question here.
I believe the witness is saying they didn't meet her.
For what is magic, if not but the study of beauty? Us meeting was not only out of the question, it was an impossibility. For what is magic, if not the study of how to make absolutely no sense at all? That said, was there a contradiction in there? Alright, so we've got two pieces of possible evidence that there's a contradiction in. They didn't see themselves. I mean, I can't really prove that they didn't see themselves at night, so I don't think that's anything. Maybe, maybe not. I have no idea. I feel a little bit more compelled to be doing something. Okay, impressing with impunity will earn me a nice penalty too. Better focus on one thing: the time of death. All right, the appointed time, which is to say, 11:20. I mean, the death happened sometime between 11 o'clock and 11:30. So either one of these jackholes could have been there at any time. Here, I'm gonna... I don't know if this has unlocked anything, but I'm gonna save just in case it has. Because I've done, and pushed on everything. The only one in the room at the time was my partner, not me. It's a 5-minute difference between the two. There's a part of me that really doubts that somehow he went into this hospital and he didn't see his freaking brother. Am I weird? I feel like it would be, but no. Okay. For shits and giggles. Okay. There was no one in that room but Magnifi as departed fashion. I snuck into his room that night at the appointed time. It was 10 minutes before I left the room, and the victim was still alive. The time indicated by this letter to Zach was 11:05. Exactly, which means the witness could not have entered that room before 11:15. Because his partner was still in the middle of the crime. I'll just see what happens. The only problem I see here is the glaring contradiction in that testimony.
Was that a question?
I guess it was.
You have been warned, Airite. Baseless remarks will be penalized.
Well put, Prosecutor Gavin. Oh, and Mr. Wright, here's my answer to your question.
Okay, I guess it wasn't right. Okay, so I guess it's this. You entered that hospital room at 11:20. Time given by the defendant, 11:05. You didn't run into him at the hospital that night? And somehow he states that this is some kind of horrifying impossibility. But how do you miss these two? Because they are both dressed in some gaudy-ass uniforms. The only problem I see here is the glaring contradiction in that testimony.
Was that a question?
What? Okay. So apparently I can't do that at all. I guess I need to just present stuff. Huh? Alright. Arrived in the hospital room at the appointed time, which is to say 11:20. After discovering the body... This has got to come down to just something in my evidence stating the times. Magnifi's letter 1. Come on the 13th, 11:05 p.m. Come on the 13th, 11:20. You have arrived there at 11:20. So he would have stayed there for about 10 minutes. That would have meant he would have left at 11:15. What would be the thing that I'm supposed to be presenting on? This is a little bit sludgy. I'm having a hard time figuring this one out. Appointed time was to say 11:20 p.m. Discovering the body, I fulfilled my obligation, then called in the doctor. Trying to think if there's anything weird with that. Oh, no. Examined the body before the police arrived. Quite clear about the time of death. 11:10. Well, I mean, that in and of itself is a little bit of a contradiction, considering the fact that, yeah, the autopsy specifically says that the time of death is between 11 o'clock and 11:30. There wasn't a specific 11:10 number. So I wonder if maybe that's my ticket through. Cause of death, single gunshot to the head. Estimated time of death, 11 o'clock to 11:30. And in that regard, it's still open. Fuck me. The evidence clearly reveals the contradiction in that statement, Your Honor.
How exactly are the evidence in the statement just now related?
They aren't they?
Not at all. Mr. Wright, please think the facts over before making accusations.
I don't think that won me any points with the judge. Alright, let me think. The one in that room at the time was my partner, not me. Alright, let's think about this one. He was quite... I don't know. Let me check this. Seems Fate's clock will make me wait a little longer, at least. Only less than 10 swift minutes remain. To all those who have supported me in my life's work, I give the honor. This doesn't feel like this is right, but I am kind of running out of ideas. That was wrong. It's kind of a case of, you know, using the evidence at the absolutely wrong time.
You don't sound very sure, Mr. Wright. Objection overruled.
Alright. Arrived in the hospital room. Appointed time, 11:20. That's correct. Okay, I arrived in the hospital room at the appointed time, which is to say 11:20 p.m. This is right. This is the time that he was set to enter the room. After discovering the body, I fulfilled my obligation, then called in the doctor. Well, we know why that's wrong, but is there any way that we can prove that? I wonder if the small syringe, like, when's this going to come into play? Used for administering insulin shots, has been washed and shows no sign of use. He hasn't taken his insulin. When does he take his insulin? Well, he requires regular insulin, but I don't know exactly when he takes it. Good question. Probably have nothing to do with this, so... Oops. The doctor examined the body, and the one in the room at the time was my partner, not me. Maybe I'm just trying to prove... No, okay. Crap. This evidence clearly reveals contradict. How exactly is it contradict? Darn it. Not at all. Damn it.
That's enough! I see no need to further prolong this trial. The defense's case is insufficient to overturn the prosecution's claims. The court finds the defendant Shady Enigma guilty. The defendant will surrender himself to the court's care, to undergo a regular trial at the High Court within a month's time. Court is adjourned.
Well, whoopsies. Did I save with full health? I hope so. I'm gonna check real quick. Let me see. I know I saved. Yay, full health. Yeah, I'm a smart cookie. Very smart to have been saving as pretty much religiously as I have. Okay, let's think about this even more. What would be the... Okay, so let's go ahead and read the last statement again. An alibi over a matter of minutes. Precise is right. And pressing with impunity will earn me a nice penalty too. Better focus on one thing, the time of death. So this is the time of death. He was quite clear about the time of death, 11:10 p.m. We've already tried to use the autopsy report as the thing to show off. That turned out to be wrong. So, I guess the overarching proof in that regard would be the fact that he was supposed to show up by 11:05, and he was supposed to shoot then and there. So, yeah, I think that would be wrong. Objection! Fucking hell! Alright. Okay, alright. It's all for... This one says 11:20, but... No, okay, shit. I don't know, I'm running out of ideas. You guys, in the chat, do you guys have any ideas? Running out. This is the time. Okay, maybe I'm supposed to press this and something's supposed to happen. I don't think I'm stepping out of a limb to say I have some doubts about this. How could the doctor be so precise with the time?
You usually only get an estimated time of death, true? I'm not sure I've heard of a verified time of death.
Magic prevails in making the complex appear simple, but reality is the opposite. What appears complex in this case is a simple matter of subtraction.
I see another person has done their arithmetic work. Homework.
The point here is the IV the victim was taking. It's quite visible in the photograph of the scene. Recall what we heard earlier about the victim Magnifi Gramarye's schedule. Every night at 11 o'clock, Magnifi took an IV drip for 30 minutes.
I can see the IV bag right there, yes.
Now look a little closer. Follow the tube down from the bag to the end.
Yeah? The needle's been removed.
Doubtlessly, it fell out when he was shot.
That would seem to be the case.
When the needle comes out, the IV no longer drips.
You could just measure the remaining IV liquid.
Precisely. The IV liquid functions, for our purposes, as an hourglass of sorts. This is how the doctor determined the time of death. From the amount remaining in that bag, it was determined that the IV had stopped 10 minutes after administration began.
Yes, alright, that was... Oh, good, that was updated. And so it was when I, Valent, entered that room. 10 minutes had passed since that horrible crime was committed. And this is the proof.
Well, Mr. Wright.
Did that seem important? Now let's think about the IV report now. It stopped 10 minutes after administration began. 30 minutes required to administer full IV from the amount remaining. IV stopped 10 minutes after it. Okay, so it was plugged. Okay, he was plugged into the IV at 11, and he removed it 10 minutes into administering it. That's still confusing because the shot should have cut it off at 5. But I don't know if I'm just being weird. Well, seeing how it is the biggest clue we have at the time of death, I'd say it's very important.
Agreed. It would be hard to imagine a more precise way to determine the time. Behold the power of arithmetic. Very well. The witness will add this detail to his testimony.
Sometimes the most magical thing of all is the truth. The water of life springs not eternal. The remaining IV liquid proves my innocence. Really? Did you notice the IV yourself by any chance? When first I entered that room, the stench of gunpowder assailed me. Next, the mark of death upon my mentor's forehead. And then his left arm did I spy, a rose dropping and wilted. Its thorn, the discarded IV needle.
Knocked from the vein by the force of the shot? Luckily for you. If that IV had not been there, why, you might be a suspect.
Indubitably. So, I might say it's thanks to my lucky color. Your lucky color? Indeed. Even today I wear it proudly upon my suspect self. For it always, without fail, brings me luck. Why, when Zack and Valent won their first Magician's Grand Prix, Yes, the very one held by the Association of International Magicians. I was adorned in this attire then too. An art trophy. A bust. Ah, what a day that was.
This is one trip down memory lane no one needs.
My lucky color, yes indeed! And that IV too. I think, 'twas hued, especially for me, Valiant.
That does seem to be the case indeed. Well, Mr. Wright, any thoughts on this testimony?
Valiant sure looks happy with himself. Okay, how about this lucky color testimony? The lucky color was yellow? Looks more green to me. Also, lucky color is yellow. Gun. Okay, I'm going to try. It certainly sounds like your lucky colors brought you plenty of luck. But not this time. Mr. Valiant, your lucky colors betrayed you. I'm afraid you've lost me. Your Honor! The witness's testimony just now clearly contradicts the evidence.
What? Please recall my warning at the beginning of this cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Baseless accusations will be duly penalized. I hope this latest accusation is well-based.
Don't worry, I've got all your bases right here.
Very well, let's hear the defense's claim. Where's your evidence that contradicts what Mr. Valiant has told us?
I think it would be the picture. Crime scene tells all, Your Honor.
The photo of the crime scene?
All this talk of color is me yearning for black and white, clear-cut simplicity. Tell us, Wright, just where is the contradiction in this photo?
My pleasure. And I assure you, it's quite simple. But I can't promise anything in black and white.
Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What in this photo contradicts the witness's testimony?
Well, he was talking about the IV bag was yellow. That makes... no, it was not yellow. It was clearly... It's a green one. Valiant Gramarye, let's get one thing straight about your lucky color. It's yellow, yes? Kinda takes the mystery out of it, but yes.
Something wrong with yellow, Mr. Wright?
Yes, there is. Decisively wrong, in fact. Take another look at the photo of the crime scene.
What's this?
Confusion. Doubt. Tell us, what do your elderly eyes spy? Perspire, rather.
Even my elderly eyes can see a problem here, Mr. Valiant. Look at that IV bag. What is this? What foul magic?
It would be hard to call the IV liquid yellow. And I'm afraid no magic was involved in the taking of this photograph.
Alakaz, no!
So many parts.
Order, order, order! What does this mean?
This is some kind of mistake.
Yes, Prosecutor Gavin. Your witness's mistake.
I'm confused as to why this is such a big deal, but okay. The greener they are, the harder they fall. I suppose there's no substitute for experience. Valiant Gramarye, as you reminded us several times, your lucky color is yellow, but the IV is clearly not. Well, this contradiction can mean only one thing.
And to think, you almost had me. I see your true colors now, Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright.
Something you'd like to tell us, Prosecutor Gavin? As far as this court can tell, the witness's testimony does contradict the evidence.
Yes, a contradiction. One that I shall be pleased to hand right back to Mr. Wright.
How do you mean?
How? Because the witness has made no mistakes. I agree. At a glance, the IV liquid does appear a sort of grayish yellow. But I assure you, the liquid itself is quite yellow.
Yellow liquid? How can you say that? As far as I can tell from this photo, it's green.
Yes, but what color is the IV bag itself?
Oh, you bastards. You were gonna bring this grade school bullshit in? The bag? You mean the plastic bag on the hook?
It looks like I want to say light blue.
Precisely. Figured it out yet? Put a yellow liquid in a blue bag and...
You get green.
This incidentally is the liquid's true color.
I see. Your explanation does have a ring of truth to it.
But wait, why did he say it was yellow? As I thought. There's no substitute for experience, Prosecutor Gavin.
What?
You may tell a good tale, but you just proven something rather grave. For you, that is.
Grave?
The liquid in the IV is yellow, yes? But how did this witness know that? It's quite unnatural when you think about it. You. Did you think about it, didn't you? Your Honor, the defense requests an explanation from the witness. At the scene of the crime, the IV liquid appears to be green. So let me ask, how did the witness know the IV liquid was actually yellow?
Alakazam!
Yay!
Order, order, order! Mr. Wright, you will explain this at once. The witness clearly knew the color of the IV liquid, so I'm sure it means something, but what?
I can think of only one possibility, Your Honor. The witness, Valent Grammary, has testified that the IV liquid was yellow because it looked yellow. He'd seen it before. He knew the IV liquid's color. Alright, which one would actually get my point across the best? He'd seen it before. He knew the IV liquid's color. You know, I'm going to say he'd seen it before. From the facts before us, the answer is clear. The witness knew that the IV liquid was yellow. Why? Because he'd seen it before. But not inside the blue bag we see in this photo. He saw the liquid by itself in a clear, colorless bag.
I suppose he would have had to, but I'm still not clear as to what all that means.
Ask yourself, why would he know if he didn't work at a hospital? That's where you'll find your meaning, Your Honor.
I'm afraid I find nothing. So what if he knew the IV liquid's color? Leave the getting excited over absolutely nothing to our teeny bopper fans, yeah?
The IV liquid is the only evidence proving the time of death. A 30-minute hourglass with 20 minutes worth of sand remaining. Your claim, Prosecutor Gavin.
I remember it well.
However, there's a critical difference between an hourglass and an IV bag.
Wait, I know. An hourglass uses sand, but an IV bag uses liquid.
A little bit different, Your Honor. Something else.
I'm right?
No. As much as it pains me to say this, Your Honor, no. Unlike the sand through an hourglass, IV liquid enters the patient's body. At which point, like magic, it disappears. However, what if the amount of IV liquid had increased? You couldn't tell, could you? After all, there's no way of knowing how much went in.
Let me get this straight out right. You're saying the witness watered down the victim's IV bag?
Not with water, but with IV liquid. That's how you knew the IV liquid was yellow.
Now, wait! I said wait! How might an amateur such as myself essay to perform such a task?
I'm an amateur too, but I can pour water into a cup.
I'm afraid there's quite a big difference between a cup and an IV bag. Quite. Can you prove our witness is capable of such a feat?
He has a point, amateurs. I, at least, would have some difficulty pouring IV liquid into that bag.
You don't need to be an expert to see the look on the witness's face. He added liquid to that IV to throw off the time of death.
I tire of these fairy tales lacking evidence.
Well, Mr. Wright, any solid evidence to bring us back down to earth?
Valiant Gramarye, I'm afraid your magic won't serve you well in a life of crime.
Might I ask what you're strongly suggesting?
Magic relies on props, and props become evidence. Our witness was certainly able to increase the amount of IV liquid in the bag. All he had to do was work a little magic, and the prop was...
The victim's syringe!
It's the perfect prop for the magically increasing IV trick. And easy enough for an amateur to use.
What kind of evidence is that? The syringe was clean, not a trace of liquid in it.
And don't you find that odd, Prosecutor Gavin?
What?
The victim had the syringe to administer his insulin shots. There should have been traces of insulin left inside. Well, Valiant Gramarye, as you pointed out yourself, the IV liquid makes the perfect clock. One that you could manipulate at will.
Alakazam!
Oh, such good drama. I love it. Again, we haven't gotten to that letter yet. I'm very confused.
I do believe, well, with this being his first, that the burden of this trial has been a bit too much to bear for Prosecutor Gavin.
Nah, he seems pretty cool-headed.
I'm afraid that while there is a doubt as to the amount of IV liquid in that bag, time of death cannot be proven. And that brings our trial to a close for today.
Well, maybe I can squeeze an extra day out of this. If I can do a little much-needed investigation work.
I see there are no objections. Court is subject...
Frickin' course. Hey, look, soda.
Truly, there's no substitute for experience. Nothing blinds one to the truth so effectively. A word to the wise. Underestimate the young, and they'll sweep your feet out from under you. In a way you never, ever expected. You see, I know exactly what you're thinking.
Go ahead. Repeat it word for word. What's he talking about?
You're saying, what's he talking about? No. You say the witness used the syringe to manipulate the level of the IV liquid. But there is no proof.
There's no proof he didn't do it either.
Yes, quite true.
Now, he's admitting it?
Nor was this witness quite as decisive as I'd hoped. This, I admit, after all. Why linger in the past when the future holds so much?
You have something in mind, Prosecutor Gavin?
Proof, Herr Judge. I have another way to prove my case. With evidence, no less.
What's this?
This is the victim, Magnifique Gramarye's diary.
Diary?
After going into the hospital, Magnifique began writing his memoirs, it seems. The story of his birth, the starting debut, and of meeting his disciples. It seems he intended for the last chapter to end, quite appropriately, with his death.
Wait. That book doesn't say what the reason was, does it? The reason why his disciples couldn't refuse his last request?
Sadly, it does not.
Damn it. I would have loved to hear that.
What's important here is on the last page. Apparently the victim wrote in his journal that night, even after the IV had begun at 11 o'clock p.m. Let's read it, shall we?
Tonight's IV is in. Maybe the last. I leave the rest to them. The first should come soon. The journey may end here, or it may go on, but not long. That depends on his hand. All that is left to mine is to put down the pen or whatever the heck.
This does appear to have been written just before his death. The court accepts this into evidence.
Read the very last part with particular care. This journal may end here or it may go on, but not long. That depends on his hand. Of course, by his, he refers to our defendant, Zach Gramarye.
That would make sense, yes. No, because it could be the other guy. He was the first scheduled visitor, after all.
But look at what he said before that. This journal may end here, or it may go on. It may go on. Magnify Gramarye intended to write again. That is, if Zach Gramarye didn't pull the trigger. I see the defense understands the meaning of this. The victim's diary does not go on. It ends. Because Magnify's life was brought to an end by the defendant, Zach Gramarye.
Not quite, sir.
Order! 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 Prosecutor Gavin! Are you certain that Magnify Gramarye wrote this?
There is no mistaking his handwriting.
Well, this does seem to be significant. According to this, Magnify did intend to continue his diary. Yet, if his diary ended here, which plainly it did,
then the one who pulled the trigger was the first visitor, Zach Gramarye. Well, how do you like me now, all right? Still too green for your taste?
He's right about the diary being pretty clear. Still, I find it hard to believe that he'd overlook such an obvious problem with his precious evidence.
well, Mr. Wright,
I know I have the answer, but I'm going to save anyways. Because I'm used to just... I'm used to him saying, well, Mr. Wright.
the witness's testimony we heard was lacking, but put together with this evidence, it seems quite sufficient for a case.
If the diary is accepted like this, the trial's over. Maybe it's time for me to show them something. I'm left with no choice but to show my own evidence.
What? You have some evidence that overturns this diary?
It's not too late to rethink this and avoid more embarrassment.
Very well. Please show us your evidence, Mr. Wright.
Incidentally, don't even think of showing us this diary I've just shown the court. Now that we've come this far, I hope you have something a little more decisive. Show us evidence that proves the victim continued writing his diary.
Alright. I'd be happy to. The decisive evidence proving that the diary didn't end with this page is... Ew. I don't feel right about this. First, take a close look at this diary. Note that a page has clearly been ripped out.
What's this? I hadn't noticed that at all.
That's why we're still here talking about this. As it just so happens, I have here what I believe to be the missing page.
Alec! I don't believe it!
Looking at this page, it's hard to imagine that the first visitor that night shot Magnify Gramarye. That's the defense's position.
Wait, let me see that. 8 o'clock to all. There's 4 minutes left. What in the Sam Hill? What? This is the continuation of the victim's diary.
I'm just waiting for the turn to happen. Note the torn edge of the page. It's a perfect match with the torn remains of the last page in Magnify's diary.
Quite remarkable.
Would you care to explain what all this means there, attorney?
The diary continued after his first visitor came, which means that the victim was still alive after Zach Gramarye left, leaving no one to take his life but the second visitor. Valent Gramarye!
No. No! The handwriting, too, matches that of the other pages. This is without a doubt the genuine article. Nope! No, it's not! I know it's not. Order, order! But wait! That's impossible! That old man couldn't have written that!
And you're going to prove it.
Finally. You just couldn't resist, could you, right?
Resist what? Presenting solid evidence?
Judge,
Yes, Prosecutor Gavin?
might I request we pull the current cross-examination on hold? The prosecution would like to call a new witness.
But, Prosecutor Gavin, this evidence overturns the current witnesses.
I ask only to put it on hold. Please, my new witness has a very, very important piece of testimony to give. 5 minutes, no more. I promise, Your Honor.
Well, if you put it that way, Mr. Wright, what's your take on this?
Well, Your Honor, judging from his enthusiasm, we'll have to hear this new testimony sooner or later anyway, so it might as well be sooner.
Then, though this is highly irregular, we'll put the current cross-examination on hold. The witness may step down. Now, Prosecutor Gavin, please bring this surprise witness to the courtroom.
Oh, I'm actually feeling a little bit sick, because I'm not looking forward to seeing what exactly happens here. I had a bad feeling just then. That ripped out page was too obvious. He must have known. And I should have known it was a bad sign all around. Oh, piss.
Holding trial with no audience is a first, even for me, Prosecutor Gavin.
I beg the court's understanding. But I had to make a judiciary deal with the witness to secure his testimony.
A judiciary deal?
The details of his testimony may have some legal ramifications, shall we say. I thought it best to contain the information to this room.
Very well. And you are the witness, I gather? Yes, sir.
State your name and occupation for the record.
My name is Drew Misham. I'm a painter. A painter? And you are somehow related to this case? No, well, not per se.
I have one simple question for this witness. Mr. Misham, was it? Do you know what this is?
Oh, yeah. I know it well.
How's that possible? Have you seen this diary page somewhere before?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I made it.
You... what? You made it?
Yes. You might call it one of my works.
The prosecutor's office received a tip-off yesterday. Illegal evidence has been prepared for the trial of Zach Gramery.
Illegal evidence?
I initiated an investigation and found this witness. A painter to the world at large. Drew Misham has another side, you might say. He is skilled in making perfect reproductions of certain things. Forgeries, in other words.
Forgeries?
Well, so we ought to understand that this page here is
a fake. Prepared by a certain defense attorney.
Oh. Hold it! I didn't prepare this evidence!
The attorney speaks. There's something about this page, I presume. But what is he saying? It makes no sense. After all, it was you who presented this evidence to us, Phoenix Wright.
Witness, Mr. Misham, was it? Who requested this forgery? Who was your client? That, I don't know.
What? Yeah, and I suppose that's what's gonna get Phoenix out of hot water.
Most of my clients prefer to remain anonymous, even to me. I make the items they want and receive my payment. That's the extent of my contact with them.
But there's no proof that it's a fake.
Yeah, it's a fake. To avoid just this sort of problem, I always put a special mark on my works. I can't say without a doubt, this is mine.
Crap. And that explains all the stuff in the background of those other paintings.
Mr. Wright, you have just presented illegal evidence to this court. My court.
It was careless of me. That's all I can say. Oh, old boy! Here. What's this? I don't know. I just got it over there in the hall. They told me to give it to the old boy in the blue shirt with the spiky hair. They said it was really important. It was all a trap. A fatal trap.
Mr. Wright,
Yes?
do you have an explanation for yourself?
If I did, would the court hear it?
Probably not. Forging evidence is a serious crime, and presenting it in court a serious mistake. A fatal mistake for an attorney.
Fatal too, perhaps, for your client, I fear.
Yeah, shit.
Tell me, what kind of defendant relies on forged evidence? The answer is quite clear. A guilty one.
Your Honor, wait! I understand that presenting forged evidence in court is a serious crime, but you cannot hold my client responsible for actions I undertook as an individual.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wright.
Your Honor.
Another close call, I dare say. If the prosecutor's office hadn't received that hot tip, everything would have gone the way you wanted it to, yeah? I even gave you a chance. Too bad you decided not to think before you're embarrassing yourself.
I see no need for further discussion on this matter. Special witness dismissed.
God damn it.
Mr. Attorney,
Yes?
could I ask your name?
Phoenix Wright.
Mr. Wright, I've seen and studied many people, but none like you. I'll remember you, Mr. Wright.
So that's his connection to me.
Though I deeply regret having to declare a verdict in this way, the trial is over. You have the right to find a new attorney and make an appeal. However, this court must...
Yeah, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Zack?
There's one thing I wish to make clear. Today in this courtroom, you cannot declare me guilty. It is impossible.
I'm afraid the defendant is quite mistaken. I most certainly have the authority to declare a verdict on you.
Except, tell me, how do you plan on announcing your verdict when your defendant does not exist?
It doesn't exist. What are you talking about?
I'm talking
About this?
Holy shit, he disappeared! Mr. Enigmar!
The defendant's escaped. Find him, quick.
Bailiff, close all exits from the building.
Smooth criminal!
On the double, he must not be allowed to escape.
That day in that courtroom, a miracle occurred. The defendant, Shady Enigmar, aka Zack Gramarye, did not just escape from court. He literally, unbelievably, vanished. Right before the bailiff's eyes. No one ever saw him again. Not since that day. This is the Gramarye miracle. No verdict was declared. After all, the defendant didn't exist. That's how it happened. The trial of magician Zach Gramarye vanished, along with him, for all eternity. The mysteries that remained behind were all solved, however, but not until 7 years later. And that would be the cue to start up now. But I think I'm actually going to leave it off here, because it's starting to get a little bit late. Oh, but that was refreshing. Oh, it's so... I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a gigantic fanboy of Phoenix, but I like the Phoenix stuff. So much. I love the original music, too, so that this was a little bit of a... This was a treat. I didn't know it was happening, and I'm so happy it did. But yes, it looks like we're going to solve all of these mysteries next up. The beginning of it all. Well, we're going to get back to that in the next stream, I think so. Well, this was fun. Man, again, I'm really sad. I apologize again. I didn't... Damn. You know, honestly, okay, there's a part of me that is actually kind of happy I didn't do this while I was sick, because I don't know if I would have wanted to put up that enthusiasm at the same time as me being dizzy as hell. So, you know, I'm going to look at it from that standpoint. Because I remember I dived into Yooka-Laylee, which, by the way, I'm not going to say it's a regret, but it's a disappointment. And but what's funny is that symbolically, I actually decided to do that stream while I was sick because I didn't give two shits. And it's funny how sick I sound in that. It was like, oh god. Like, you could tell I was trying to hit high notes, and I was just like, really, really raspy. Jeez. Okay, anyway, yes. I think that will do it for the stream for Phoenix Wright. Or no, well, Jesus Christ. That was basically Phoenix Wright. But this is the end of the Apollo Justice stream for tonight. So thanks everybody who jumped into the stream to say hi and joke around to the game. I appreciate it. If you want to check out the episode after it's done, I mean... There wasn't too much faffing around. It was mostly trial, and I did a fairly decent job on it. But I'm kind of thinking I'll go ahead and cut out. Well, I'll cut it down in certain areas when I fail, stuff like that. It might not be a bad idea. I don't know. I had one guilty verdict, so maybe it mounts out. Maybe I'll just upload it raw. Who knows? But regardless, I'm going to upload it to the YouTube channel after I make that decision and do the thing. I stream on Saturdays, Sundays, and Wednesdays, all of them starting at around 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Some other games that I'm currently playing. Like I mentioned earlier in the stream, yeah, I am playing Stardew Valley. I'm thinking about doing that tomorrow. But yes, I don't know, I'm running out of steam for that thing. Like, the multiplayer mod has to come out before I do anything with Stardew again. And even then, when the multiplayer mod comes out, I think I kind of want to just start it off fresh. Just because, I mean, like, why start off with all of this stuff that I've already accomplished when I could hang out with friends in a new place? So, like, it doesn't really matter. Actually, like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That, and I kind of want to keep my regular map its own single-player thing. What other games? I've been thinking about playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So badly want to do that, but I'll get to that when I get to that. I have been revisiting Night in the Woods for the third freaking time. Again, like, every single time I go to start playing Night in the Woods, there's a pang of guilt in me. It's been like, why am I doing this again? But hey, I wanted to see all of the updates and the the weird autumn thing, so... And I wanted to do that on the stream, because that was a game that was very majorly a part of just the streaming that I've done, so I felt it was necessary. Random roguelikes is another thing. I have randomly offhand played Binding of Isaac, which, that's fun no matter what well, if I have bad runs, then it's not fun. I've played Dead Cells in the past, and kind of want to get back into that at some point. So I suppose one of the things I thought there was one of the I have some other stuff that I've got lined up, but I'll get to that when I get to that. All right, that'll do it for tonight. Again, thanks for coming out. See you later.